Wow, wow, wow. Well, I wasn't expecting Nintendo to go this hard. Honestly, I thought this was just going to be some random Nintendo Direct with really not much in the way of breaking news, but boy, did they just relieve themselves all over my bonfire. This was a Nintendo Direct that was just full of big titles, big new games coming, and just generally a lot to look forward to. So let's start at the beginning. Nintendo immediately open up with a banger of an announcement as they reveal a new Mario and Luigi game called Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I know a lot of people have been asking for. I've played a couple of them in the past and I do really like them, and just the fact that this will be the first one to be designed for a mainline Nintendo console and not the DS or 3DS. You can imagine and picture a much bigger, grander, richer adventure than what they were able to get on the handheld consoles. I love the art style. It looks completely different to any other Mario game I can recall seeing off the top of my head. Honestly, when I saw the high quality animation, I was scared it was a Hotel Mario remake. But the little mini games look fun, the combat looks fun, the world looks rich and vibrant. Bowser and Peach are there as well as a new bad guy, and I'm very intrigued by this ship that appears at the end of the trailer. I assume it's the actual brother ship. I quite like that the mast is actually just a big tree. Overall, if you enjoy Mario and Luigi, it looks like it's very much going to scratch that itch. The game will be released on November the 7th of this year. And it's quite a turnaround considering Alpha Dream went bankrupt just a few years ago. Now of course they're still bankrupt as far as I'm aware, but at least the series is being revived, so that's good. Very excited to play this game and get back into the Mario and Luigi series. We then have a thing about Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. It's mostly what we know. There's 13 different NES games. There's leaderboards and nothing like that really gets me excited. I mean, I play Pikmin 3 challenges all the time, and I know I'm never going to get to the top of the leaderboard because someone hacked the top of it. I don't think it would take very long for this to happen with this game. I feel like I would have preferred a new NES Remix series, personally. I feel like the kind of people that would be interested in a game like this probably challenge themselves with these kind of games anyway. One of the challenges is to beat Super Mario Brothers using warp pipes. I imagine people can just do that anyway. I guess I'm kind of not sure what purpose this game has. I know there's an online competitive mode, but that seems to possibly be about it. But the collector's edition does look pretty dope, and that in itself is really tempting because I do love me a gold cartridge, and I do actually really like the box that the game comes in. It really appeals to me. The game itself, not so much, but whatever. We had some new anime style RPG games, Fairy Tail 2 and Fantasian. If you're into those sort of games, then you've got those to look forward to later this year. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting a free basketball update coming very, very soon this summer. I quite enjoyed it on Wii Sports Resort, and it's cool that there's online play. We had Mio Memories in Orbit coming out next year. It looks very Hollow Knight-y, only more biomechanical, so I'm semi-intrigued. I'll keep my eye on this one. There's a bunch of Disney games and updates coming out. An update to Disney Illusion Island, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, which looks great if you've got young children, a nice cute open world game. But was it me, or in that episode of South Park where they played World of Warcraft, doesn't Butters want to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Am I misremembering that? South Park predicted the future. Go eat that, Simpsons. A Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports game, which, why they didn't just call it Space Jam, I don't know. I guess there's more to the game than basketball, so that's probably why. There's an Among Us update with new imposter roles and crewmate roles. But it's nice that they're adding new things to help keep it a little more fresh. Then there's Farmagia, which is a new sort of farming sim kind of game where the gimmick is you grow crops which turn into monsters. It's a little strange, but at least it's something new, a new spin on the whole farming sim kind of genre. The battle system looks to be some sort of Pikmin, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh style combination with types and weaknesses and fusions, summons, and controlling small hordes of creatures. It looks interesting and different, I'll give it that. That'll be out November 1st. I feel like this is the kind of game that really needs a demo or something to really sell it. We then get the announcement that Donkey Kong Country returns to the Nintendo Switch on January 16th next year. This is a HD port remaster of the Wii version. Kind of strange that its sequel Tropical Freeze made it to the Switch before this one. I did like the original on the Wii. It felt like a Donkey Kong Country game. It didn't lose its charm and the controls felt like how they did on the original Super Nintendo series. The HD edition will come with the additional levels that were released for the 3DS version. So if you didn't play the 3DS version, at least you got something new with this one. Dragon Quest III is getting a remake. I'll be honest, I've only ever played Dragon Quest Builders. So I can't really tell you much about it. I'm sure it's very exciting. I mean, it looks great. I really like this trend of making HD pixel art games. I think it looks so appealing. I mean, as a non-Dragon Quest player, I look at this and think I actually kind of want to play this game. It just looks great, and the gameplay looks classic as well. There's a Funko Pops game coming out. No, seriously, there is. I like the concept of it. It's a sort of multiverse of characters ranging from Jurassic Park to Shaun of the Dead. I saw Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's in there. Whether it's going to be a kind of story game, whether it's going to take on the sort of Fortnite thing where it's just random for the sake of random, I don't know. But I guess I like the concept. I'm just not into the whole Funko Pop craze. Sorry. There was more on Luigi's Mansion 2, and then the new Denpa Men. I've seen so many people wanting information on a new Tomodachi Life game, and what you got was this. It does look very weird. It looks like you dress you dress me characters. They have an adventure. I can't find any other information about Denpa Men other than the fact that these games did originally come out on 3DS, and this is a new one. It looks like it could be a fun little play considering that it's free, so there is that. And honestly, if I've got nothing to do, I might give it a little try, see what it's like. But you're going to have to wait till July 22nd to try it. There's a tower defense Metal Slug game coming out. It's actually out right now if you want to play it. It looks like a 2D side-scrolling auto shooter, so probably the kind of game that you'd play on your mobile telephone. I like Metal Slug, it's a lot of fun, but I like shooting things, so I'm not sure how I feel about an auto Metal Slug game. I don't think it's my jam. I'd rather just play shoot and grenade everything in front of me kind of Metal Slug. Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming to the Switch. I never got around to playing the first Darkest Dungeon game, and unfortunately a cursory glance tells me that Darkest Dungeon 2 is not that great. I mean, it looks fun, so I don't want to prejudge too much about playing it, but if people are already saying that it's not that great, then maybe it's worth giving it a miss. But then we get an announcement about new classic titles hitting the Nintendo Switch Online service. It starts with the Game Boy Advance remake of A Link to the Past, which does include the Four Swords Adventures. And it's cool that you get to play the Four Swords section online with people. Metroid Zero missions coming to the Game Boy Advance. And then on Nintendo 64, Perfect Dark and Turok. Cool. A tactical turn-based RPG called Phantom Brave The Lost Heroes being released. That will be coming out next year. It looks fine. I don't know how popular the previous Phantom Brave games were, but I'm sure that it will excite some people. There's a Capcom arcade fighting collection coming out as well. I can imagine some people getting really excited by this. There's an X-Men vs Street Fighter game, Marvel vs Capcom 2. Even I know there's a lot of classic fighting arcade games in this collection, so for some people this is going to be a big deal. They're including a training mode and an online mode as well. This is followed up by Super Mario Party Jamboree. This is a brand new Mario Party game. They're claiming the biggest Mario Party game ever, and it looks like classic traditional Mario Party, which I love. There's loads of game boards, each one with its own cool gimmick. There's mini little battle royal modes with some of the mini games. It's coming out later in the year, so perfect in time for Christmas. I just really hope you can play the actual full Mario Party game online, not just the mini games but with the boards as well. I like the fact that there's loads of new boards. They're bringing back boards from the previous Mario Party games. I like the idea of that, just like what Mario Kart does. Then we get a shocker, because I wasn't expecting in this Nintendo Direct to learn we're getting a brand new Legend of Zelda game, and this is a full-on new Zelda game. Now it's not a mainline 3D, you know, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild Zelda or anything like that. This looks like it's going to use a similar to same engine as the Link's Awakening remake. The graphics look the same, I believe, and you play as Zelda. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of one Zelda game where you play as Zelda. Maybe there's one more, I'm not sure. But this is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. It looks phenomenal. I mean, the shot of Zelda looking over Hyrule Castle and you just see the world. It's like, this is a game that I'm just begging to explore. It starts off with Link fighting Ganon. And this is like proper classic Ganon, no Ganondorf, it's Ganon. And at first I was thinking, are they remaking OG Zelda? Perhaps they've done Link's Awakening, are they going to remake Oracles of Ages or Seasons? And the fight with Ganon is merely the opening, because upon defeat, it looks like Link is sucked into a crack in reality and he disappears, leaving a newly rescued Zelda alone. So Zelda escapes to safety, and when we see the gameplay, Zelda has a brand new fairy called Tri, and the gimmick is you can use your new Tri Rod to essentially make copies of items, and then you can use those items in various ways across the land. So the example they gave is you can copy a table and then use tables to essentially build stairs up to new areas. They show Zelda copying a rock and then using the rock, this boulder, as a weapon against enemies. So it doesn't look like there's any actual sword fighting or anything like that. And to take it a step further, you can even create copies of monsters. And a part of me thought, wow, are they going to turn this into some Pokemon kind of game where you can basically raise your own moblin or something like that and have the moblin fight for you? But I don't think it's going to go quite that far, but sure enough you can summon enemies to fight other enemies. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and the one thing that I love about Tears of the Kingdom is how you can take on shrines differently to how other people take them on. I've took them on during streams and people have been dumbfounded that they haven't thought of the way I've done to complete the shrine. And it looks like this could be a similar thing. There'll be multiple ways that you can overcome obstacles. I mean, it looks a lot of fun, it looks beautiful. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun playing this game, and it's out on September 26th of this year, so it's not a long wait to go. And then they announced there's going to be a brand new Nintendo Switch design, which reminds me a lot of the Game Boy Advance SP that I got with the Minish Cap. It's a gold Switch with the Zelda logo, except that it's the Switch Lite. I won't be buying that then. How disappointing. I mean, I have nothing against the Switch Lite, but I don't think I've ever used my Switch in handheld mode, and thus I can't justify buying a handheld Switch. I wouldn't even want a second Switch at this point in my life anyway. There's a 2025 edition of Just Dance if you're interested in that. And then we get some footage of the LEGO Horizon Adventures game. Now I really like the LEGO games, but I haven't played a LEGO game in so long. I do kind of want to play another one, and to be honest, Horizon is probably as good a franchise as any to play. I mean, I love the Horizon games. I don't think we needed a LEGO Horizon game, but I'm just glad to see Horizon getting a bit more attention. And let's face it, the game looks really appealing. The graphics look a lot of fun. The world that they've crafted in LEGO begs to be explored. And I'm not against the wacky coat of paint that they like to give their LEGO games. The idea of having Aloy run around dressed as a hot dog or something is probably something that I need in my life to help me unwind and de-stress. Then we find out Stray's coming to the Switch. I feel Stray is one of those games where if you really wanted to play it, I'm sure you would have played it by now. I'm sure there probably is a subset of people that haven't played Stray because it hasn't been out on Switch. So I'm glad that people will have a chance to play it. I mean, Stray isn't really for me. I like cats. I don't really feel like I want to play a game about a cat. But it seems fun. It looks fun. I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy Stray if they haven't played it already. Then we see Tales of the Shire, which is a life sim based in the world of the Lord of the Rings. Again, I'm not really a Lord of the Rings fan myself, but I actually like the coziness that this game provides. It looks fairly appealing, and I feel this is a market that hasn't really been tapped. We see a lot of Lord of the Rings, it's all about the adventure, the combat, but a low-key, more relaxed game of this sort I think has a place in the world. Also, I live very close to where J.R.R. Tolkien grew up, and I've seen the places that inspired Lord of the Rings, so I do have a thing for seeing the Lord of the Rings be successful, despite the fact that I don't really watch the films or play the games or anything. Now, there is a lot of good stuff in this Nintendo Direct that we've seen. But if I'm honest, the thing that got me excited more than anything else was the next announcement. I love Ace Attorney. Honestly think it might be my favourite video game franchise out there. And the fact that I've seen the games being remade in beautiful HD for consoles has made me very happy. And there's been one glaring omission, which has been the Edgeworth games. And my god, this Direct announced they're bringing the Edgeworth games to the console. Now, if you've never played any Ace Attorney game, they're wonderful. It's all about following the story. It's about finding contradictions in crime scenes, going to court, and proving your defendant innocent. These games put a spin on it, where you now play as the prosecution and you're trying to find the guilty party. And these are so underrated. The Ace Attorney series as a whole is underrated, but Ace Attorney Investigations is the most underrated set of games within that series. The second game of which has never even been released in English, so I'm very excited. Technically this is a new Ace Attorney game. I know there was a fan translation patch that you could apply to a ROM. I've never played that, and this has been the first time since it was made, probably, what, 15 to 20 years ago? This is the first time that fans get to play this game in English. It looks beautiful. I know the first game's great, I played it, it's a brilliant game, and I'm sure the sequel's going to be just as good. And the fact that I can now play it on Switch, and presumably other consoles, but I'm happy to play it on Switch, it warms my heart. This gave me goosebumps when this started playing during the Direct. Then there's another game coming out early next year, the 100 Line Last Defense Academy, made by the people that made Danganronpa. And then Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven, looks perfectly fine. And then the main event. I don't think anyone predicted that we would get this much Metroid Prime 4 information, but my goodness me, we have been waiting a long time. The game was originally announced back in 2017, and there's been barely a word said about it since. 7 years later, not only do we finally get a look at the gameplay, we also get a look at the name, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It looks like classic full-on Metroid Prime action. It looks beautiful, it runs wonderfully. A lot of people have been saying, is this actually being played on the Switch too? I mean, maybe, possibly. That could be a hint, maybe this game's going to be released on the Switch too. Now, just to jump ahead, it is coming out next year, so maybe there could be a Switch 2 in 2025, who knows? We know the scan feature's back, we know Morph Ball's back, the Space Pirates are back, and then the characters revealed that I don't believe I recognise. There are a couple of Metroid Prime games that I'm not too familiar with, so it could be a character from that. But to me it looks like a new character being followed by Metroids, as if this character is controlling the Metroids. Either way, the game looks stunningly beautiful. It looks like it plays like a treat, and we're going to get a chance to play it next year, 2025. Very exciting. So that's it, that's the Nintendo Direct from the 18th of June 2024. A lot of incredible stuff. The highlights for me: brand new Mario Party, the Miles Edgeworth games being remastered and brought to the Switch, brand new Mario and Luigi, and then the two things that really excite me: Zelda. Anything that's more Zelda is always really exciting, and Metroid Prime 4. Ah, thank you Nintendo. Thank you for not forgetting about Metroid Prime 4. Thank you so much for listening to this recap. Like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you very soon in another video.